How do you deal with self-harm? You see, when it comes to self-harm, there's this sort of a seesaw balance going on. It's either self-harm or risk of suicide or suicidal thoughts. This is not true for everybody, but and if you have suicidal thoughts and you self-harm, then it's even more difficult to stop self-harming. Maybe even more dangerous. I'll give you a good reason why you shouldn't self-harm, and it's not to do with taking care of your body or whatever, but it's because society will reject you, and in some countries they may even incriminate you for self-harming because they view you as a potential threat to yourself or to others or whatever. I knew a friend who was hospitalized because he was self-harming, because he had depression, because he was mentally ill, and he was literally locked in the hospital because of his mental illness, and he's been traumatized because of that. It's hard enough for normal people to accept you for having a mental illness. It's even harder for them to accept you for self-harming. But of course you can always find good people, no matter what, who will accept you anyway. I'm just saying it's harder and it's not in your best interest. So if you don't have many scars now, or you're doing it on your thighs and you're thinking, oh, it's on my thighs, it's fine. Just remember that with self-harm, it's addictive. So you might, this is gonna sound such a weird logistical fact, but you could run out of space, if you're doing it too much on your thighs. There's only so many scars that you can keep doing over another scar before shit gets real bad. So it's not in your best interest. See, the whole point of my channel is to give you no bullshit advice, right? And it's not gonna be the most cookie cutter, most professional advice ever. Because the most professional advice is probably go pay $300 for a therapy session and hope to God that you're gonna get better. And that's the cookie cutter advice. That's the clean cut, perfect advice that people can give that they assume no accountability for, but it's the kind of advice that's safe and everybody will just clap for you and go, yeah, that's good advice, buddy, because that's the most fucking obvious one. And I don't want to give you that kind of advice. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm trying to give you practical advice that is actually helpful. My advice will help you, but it won't get you to that place that you really want to be, which is completely fine, completely healthy. And I guess the first step that you can take is to find an alternative. So you run, you either go jogging hardcore, you go hours and hours of running, and running really sucks. So you'll feel like you're dying, you'll feel in pain, and I don't know if that's good enough for you that's good enough self-harm for you, and by the end of the day you go home, you don't feel like you want to self-harm anymore. I don't know, depends. But for some people it can. You can run 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day. You can run when your feet hurt, and it can get to the point where you're really damaging yourself, but through running. And whilst this is still self-harm basically, and you want to make sure you don't get to the point where you're doing permanent damage to your body. So you want to run till it hurts, but you don't want to run till you get stress fractures or you start tearing tendons or whatever. You want to just run till your lactic acid has built up to a point where you can't get enough air in, or you're just so done, you're so tired. And this kind of stress your body can adapt to and can get better from and can even benefit from. So it's sort of this weird beneficial self-harm where you're boosting your immune system, you're boosting your stamina, you're getting healthier, basically you're burning calories, etc., right? And you want to start by doing more healthy activities, basically going to the gym and just going hardcore with it. Because if you don't go hardcore and you just do maybe 30 minutes of exercise, you're gonna come home, you're gonna self-harm. You're gonna feel like you still need to release your stress or release your negative emotions in some way, right? So you want to focus your negative emotions and just channel it through the hardcore exercise regimen that you created for yourself. Maybe a more nuanced advice, but chili is a great way to basically get that physical sensation or distraction from your emotional thoughts. Because if you eat a bunch of chili, and if it's spicy enough, you're not going to be thinking about your ex-boyfriend, your ex-girlfriend. You're not going to be thinking about the fertility of your existence or whatever. You're gonna be thinking, oh my god, I need some milk, or I need some, like, you're gonna be thinking that you're dying, and you need to get rid of the spice in your mouth, right? So chili can really help with that. So if you wanna, it's a strange advice, but on some days it can really help. Chili. And some other people have, I know some other people have given advice on, what was it, drawing on your hands or your arms. I don't find it helpful at all, but that's the other more obvious advice, is to draw stuff in your hand. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it. You instead of cutting yourself, you take a marker and then you draw a line, and that's supposed to help. I sincerely do not find it helpful at all, but obviously you can try it and see for yourself. But I tried it many times and it does not help. Another alternative to self-harm is cold showers. So if you take cold showers, if you go all the way cold, trust me, it will take away some of the stress that you're under, some of the emotional pain. And if you make a habit of taking a cold shower instead of self-harming, like every time you want to self-harm, go to the bathroom and turn on the shower and put on the coldest setting possible. Then you will feel as if you are self-harming without actually self-harming. So the amount of pain that you're in when you're taking a cold shower, especially if you live in a cold country where the water is really cold. The problem with self-harm, right? Because people self-harm for the validation, right? They self-harm because once they do, then they have the scars to prove that they are in pain. And sometimes that's why they're in so much emotional pain, is because people like look down on them. People tell them that you're not going through anything, that just tough it out, just suck it up. And what people with mental illness want is not for other people to look at them and see, oh my god, you're in actual pain, but for themselves to feel like they're validated somehow. Like, oh, okay, I'm in pain, so I should probably stop feeling this way. Because if they just keep ignoring their pain, then they feel like they're drowning in their own emotions, and the only way to get out is to look at your scars, to harm yourself. Look at your scars, look at the things that you've been through, and think to yourself, oh, okay, yes, I've been through a lot of struggle, but I'm past that now. It's a way to move past emotional pain. And sometimes the only way to do it is to self-harm, because once you self-harm, then you can finally think to yourself, oh, okay, it's finally over. And that's not true for all people, but for some people that is true. It's a way to validate, to reconcile. So there you go. Eating chili, taking a cold shower, and doing hardcore exercises. But at the end of the day, it's your own willpower, your own resolve not to self-harm. And I can sit here and tell you how you're not supposed to self-harm and all that, But at the end of the day, the consequences of self-harm will come back to haunt you. And at that point, you will stop self-harming. And maybe this will help you, but I've had a friend who was addicted to meth and his life was in the toilet hole. He was abused by his parents. He was bullied, and he got cheated on by a girlfriend, and this guy used to self-harm a lot, and his arm was just shredded, just completely destroyed by all these cuts and scars. And he completely stopped self-harming, and he had his own reasons why. But what I'm trying to say is, when the day comes, the day will come where we have enough incentive to stop self-harming, but it might take a while before that happens. And I just hope that watching this video will accelerate that process. But no bullshit. I don't think there's a lot I can say to make you stop self-harming yourself. I try it with a lot of my friends. I try to make them stop, and it doesn't really work out well. But maybe this video will help, and really hope so. If it does, come back to this video, comment below, tell me. One last thing, right? So for cuts and burns and whatever, you're damaging skin, and if you don't treat it well, it'll get infected. So I'm gonna show you real quick how to treat self-harm. What I didn't know is that sometimes if you don't treat your self-harm correctly, it can get infected, and there's this green pus that starts to come out, and it can be very painful, and it means that it takes even longer to heal, and the scars become really ugly. And anyway, you don't want infection, basically. Even if you're addicted to self-harm, I doubt even self-harmers would say that they want green pus coming out of their fucking skin. Like, that's not the whole point. That's not what they wanted, right? Even though some of them may find blood to be a validation. That's a whole nother topic, though. But okay, I'll just show you how to treat this fucking thing. So you got a cut, right? And let's say you had a cut right over there, right? Somewhere here or something. Wherever you cut, right? Take some antiseptic, or you can put soap. Soap is fine. Soap will prevent infection, or an actual antiseptic. So alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and then you can just put that over the area. Make sure you wash your hands and then put the rubbing alcohol. Sometimes even the slightest amount of bacteria can actually cause an infection. So you want to be 100% clean. So you want to wash with tap water, and then you want to wash off the cut and the blood. You want to put then you want to dry it, okay, with paper towels, and then that will leave bacteria on. So you got to put on alcohol. So you wash, and then you dry it with you dry it up, right? Then you put rubbing alcohol on it, okay? Then you just leave it, okay? You're done. And then you take your bandage and you put it on the area, right? Just like that. And if your bandage is big enough, that's fine. But if you find that the bandage has all these little spots, right? These little holes, like here, for example. This, okay, it might not seem like much, but this will cause an infection because the bacteria can somehow crawl into there and get into your cut. So you have to take another, let's imagine this is another piece of bandage. You put another piece of bandage and you put it maybe cross over there, or you put it over so that you seal those areas. So you want to be 100% sealed. And before you bandage it, right? Before you bandage it, you want the alcohol to be there. You don't want to wash the alcohol off or wipe it down or whatever, dab it with your hand. Do not touch the alcohol. Just leave the alcohol there. leave the alcohol, put the bandage on like this. Now the problem with that is that it doesn't work forever, and you'll find that after a week or two, you need to rebandage basically, and you'll know this by how much it hurts. Okay, it's gonna start hurting a little bit, and there's gonna be a stump. Okay, there's gonna be a little bump on the cut or the burn or whatever, and you're gonna start feeling like it's hardening. When that happens, you take out the bandage and you do the whole process over again. Because if you just leave it there thinking, you know, it's fine, it's sealed, I put alcohol in it, it's fine. What you don't realize, this guy's even more crazy. What you don't realize is that the bandage itself has bacteria on the inner side. And it's a small amount, but it's enough that after a week, you'll start to get a little bit of an infection. And you'll know when it starts to have this bump. So you remove it, you replace it, and then after a week from there, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, then the cut will be completely healed, no infection whatsoever, and that's how you treat a self-harm cut or burn. Thanks for watching, guys, and leave a comment below if this video was helpful. See you guys around.